quick question about buyer personas related to your comment about the champion.
Yeah.
In the last 6 months, and this was predicated by a conversation I had with Jim Krause from the Buyer Persona Institute, the value of buyer personas and traditional buyer personas are this is the demographics, how much money they make, and what they do when they're not working. It's very high level, very non-specific, and I've changed my view on buyer personas because I think they need to be aligned with the jobs to be done approach, really getting into how people think, feel, the different ways that they do their jobs right now, some of the options, some of the tools that they use, really getting very granular into understanding how your target audiences do their job and what would trigger them to change course. Can you talk about the importance of creating buyer personas and how it helps you shape your messaging and positioning strategies?
You nailed it on the head. Like, we're not big believers in the demographic piece and like describing a day in the life type stuff necessarily. For us, it really comes back to like you said, the job. It's like, what are they doing? What's their situation? So context does matter. I don't really care how they have it makes me think of the personas. I think it's Ozzy Osbourne and I forget Bill Gates or someone, and they both are the same persona in some degree in some breakdown. This goes back to the contextual piece. What activities are they doing and how are they doing it today? Being really fundamental in a B2B context. The other piece to this related to where personas really impacts that is the person's going to change the view on their situation and their job. This is really misunderstood. A lot of folks in B2B come in and they're like, yeah, we're going to sell to these companies and these companies have a job. And it's like, no, not really. Like, people have jobs associated to that. We narrow the focus to the tip of the spear because at the end of the day, we're just trying to articulate your value up front to get people into a buying process. And this gets us into the second flavor of personas, so to speak, even though we don't really build them out this way, is like, where in the journey is that persona? You asked earlier on about where are some of the mistakes made. There's this tendency of companies to try and over message everything. And I think it's because they're combining all these personas into one, and they're combining where everyone's mindset is of whether they haven't used us, are they aware of us, are they in a different problem, are they an existing customer. They message all of them the same way. One of the things we encourage is make sure that the actual individual role is considered related to the activity that they're doing. Otherwise, you'll end up with just mismatched messaging that doesn't work. And then you also need to consider, what marketing asset is this going to go into? This gets into a really big topic. It's, what do you say top of funnel? What do you say middle funnel? What do you say bottom? What do you say in the buying process? The question we'll get from a lot of founders when we're trying to work on positioning is, yeah, we're trying to compete with all these people, and like, how do we say we're better than them? We start asking about, well, how people actually buy their product. Those competitors don't come up until they're about to close. There's this tendency to them, because they're thinking about their pipeline. Oh, we need to message up front, we're better than Salesforce, we're better than this. When it's, wait a minute, that's only a message for people who are in your pipeline. It's a very narrow group versus, and we're working on website messaging. The people on your website, they're not thinking about Salesforce yet. They're thinking about, hey, I'm in this situation, I'm trying to do something. They need a different message. And so it gets into a really complex set of things. And so if I were to summarize, super important to us, the attribute piece doesn't matter nearly as much as the context and what they're trying to do. That's like foundationally how we even build out our ideal customer profiles.